Ladies and gentlemen, once more, I'd like to ask all the Congress participants, please go to your respective seats. We are initiating now our next activity. Over to Mrs. Pamela Boy, and I ask, please, all of you, put on your headphones. Everybody putting on your headphones, and we will take the sounds of the auditorium and general sound. We're going to have only the headphones. Can you hear me now? Okay. Hello, can you hear me okay? Everybody, can you hear me okay? Everybody, can you hear me okay? Okay, so let's go. After this confirmation, let's then go ahead with the activities of the 17th International Congress of Educating Cities, which is being done from 21st from 24th of May in the city of Curitiba. This Congress counts on the representatives of 12 countries, 36 cities all over the world. The central theme of this Congress is sustainability, innovation, and inclusion in educating cities, transforming the present. Because, as to evidence, the city and nature are not opposed elements, but coexist in an integrated way, an interdependent way. Therefore, when we think about living the cities and its educating potentialities, it's necessary to establish a synchrony between human actions and the conscious and responsible use of natural resources with conscience and competency for the organization of life in common. We'd like to now thank the authorities present with us. Municipal Secretary of Education, Professor Dr. Maria Silva Bacila, the municipal secretaries present here today in our fourth and last day, presidents and directors and partner companies and our sponsors, and also Riacho Institute, Federal University of Paraná, and PUC, member cities of IAEC, of Educating Cities, IAEC Secretary, Mrs. Marina Canals, mayors present, several cities from Brazil also with their mayors present. We'd like to thank the Executive Committee of IAEC, the Scientific Committee, local committee, the director of the Latin American delegation, Educating Cities, Laura Afonso, and also to all the Congress participants who are here with us in this 17th International Congress of Educating Cities. To be an educating city is to situate, to put education as the central axis of the city project, which implies in awareness that political differences and activities that propose themselves to and are developed from different stances and services of the city, and that convey knowledge and they fight for certain values and attitudes intentionally. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, we'd like to invite a lot of honor, a lot of tenderness to come to the stage, the political scientist, Pamela Po, who will bring reflections about the theme, restoring sustainability in life, of life, adaptation and local transition before the climatic crisis. She's a political scientist by the University of Conception, master by the RC University, with over a decade of experience in education, spreading research, public assessment about the environment and climatic changes, water residues, energy, and models analysis for production linked to mineration. She's a director of public policies and advocacy for EcoSur. She's a member of the Scientist Network Politics and author of the book, Transition, Crisis Climatic and Ecological. So I'll pass the floor to Mrs. Pamela Poe. Okay, welcome.
Hello, good morning. First of all, I want to thank Marina for the invitation. She really has dedicated herself for me to be here. Then I want to say that express my admiration for the lecturers because this experience brings us faith in a word. Of course, there are many bad things that happen, news that are in the social media, but therefore, I think it's very important to rescue and to have faith that things can be changed. We know mainly the activists that works with this, but we must, as I said yesterday, we must be the thing that we want to see in the world, and that's why we need to encourage this sort of public policies, citizenship, and so on. My presentation speaks about restoring the sustainability of life. The restoration, like for example, the United Nations had taken from 2020, had decreed, had said that from 2020 to 2030, we just no need to conserve. We need to restore. So that's why we must move on with the public policies. Let's understand what had anticipated the climate crisis and the ecological crisis. Nowadays, we are in this moment of development, and the social-economic metabolism requires series of materials, and in this logic of infinite growth, even if it seems that we have many planets, but we only have one planet, a closed system, and we are extracting materials which we cannot give back to the system. The basic metabolism demands that we use these materials again. They must be reintegrated, but we are not doing so. We are extracting fossil fuels and mining. And of course, there is a great tension in this moment. In addition, there was a rupture in the organicist theory, which says that at some point our life was linked to nature. We women have a key role. And I will talk about this in my lecture because we have been, this knowledge has been removed from us. At the same time, the mechanicist knowledge had arose. Francis Bacon is the father of medicine, and there are many cycles of something that has been implemented by means of colonialism, and the colonialism has not ended. It continues until today, but in another disguise. On the other hand, as VLF have said, the limits of growth in his book. This has been announced 50 years ago, so that means it's not something new that we have just discovered. No, not at all. It's not a situation that had caught up in surprise. We knew about it, and so these scientists have written this report and said, if we continue to extract these materials, there will come a time when economy will be no longer sustainable. So this is an issue because capitalism in itself harmed its own existence because it believes that there is an infinite economic growth. And each time a person grows, things grow, population grows, the need of power grows, the cities grows. So we cannot say that the GDP we must grow from 2 to 3 points. No, because behind this acronym, there are so many things. We must leave these dogmas behind because they had been conveyed to us as they are unquestionable. But it's not true. It's not the capitalism has not taken in consideration our planet. So we must change our frame of mind. We have also historic responsibilities regarding, for example, climate change. I want to excuse myself with the global north, but because there is a huge difference between north and south, because the great emitters from the global north, the richer countries, and we must say so. Of course, I want to say, of course, indigenous people, they are not responsible for the carbon emissions. So therefore, this has to do with patriarchy, white men, authoritarianism, anthropocenic. So we must not deny that. How can we change the situation? The world needs transformation. If we don't have transformation, unless we have transformation, the whole system will failure. And this will bring consequences not only for the vulnerable and the poor people, but for everyone as well. But first of all, for the vulnerable populations, the responsibilities are different. The South is very different. This global South don't have the resources to deal with the climate crisis, and we must see how we must solve. All the experiences that we've heard here of the educating cities give us hope because they are working with local issues. The climate crisis has political aspects. It's not just a technical crisis. Usually people speak about the technical aspect as something that is solved by technicalities, but it is also a political, and policies are not working. There are 28 groups that had been a failure. We have reached an agreement, but this agreement had been diluted in time. We had had great losses. I apologize once again, but we must say the things in the correct way, and we haven't been able to solve. So we are amidst a crisis, and we must see how we're going to find a solution. Of course, there is a consolidation of the crisis. There is the climate emergency, such as like going to erase a fire, put the fire down. Okay, but we are in a situation where we have no way out. We must reduce the fire. We must find a better perspective nonetheless. From 1 to 5 degrees that the Paris Agreement considers. Previously it was 2 degrees because there has always been a political, didn't have technical information enough. But 2 degrees, it's a total disaster. But when the scientists notice that we are accelerating too much, that we're going to bump into an asteroid, they say 1.5 degrees. Sorry, it's not 5 degrees, 1.5, because it's a target that's safer. But we had already increased 1 degree, and this degree in temperature, you notice here in Brazil what has been taking place in the Rio Grande do Sul with the floods and the rains. Chile as well had been heat waves, and in Europe, so many are dying with the heat waves. They're being harmed by different things. And of course, the economic aspect also, people have been harmed. People don't have similar tools to solve their problems in their lives, so we must acknowledge this crisis, because during the 1970s and 80s, of course, there was this model of development that is intensified, and this model didn't work. There is a permanent risk. For example, if I want to live in a place, if I want to buy a house, I'm not sure if I can move there because of the atmospheric condition, the rains. We have no certainties no longer that we used to have. The 21st century requests that we now accept that we are going to live in permanent risk. There is a preventive measure, and so people have to be accountable for that. If we don't have systems for evaluating environmental impact, then the economy, long-term economy, this is the most important one. And are we continue to lose ecosystems? Are we going to continue to lose populations and be in a vulnerable situation? Well, let me give you an example now. Please let me know if there is a Chilean here. I haven't found anyone. I haven't met anyone. In Chile, they have burned about 500,000 hectares of forest, and as well as monocultures. After 6 months of this burning, the same regions that have been burned, have been flooded and then burnt again. So the question is, how can we going to have resources in a permanent way if we continue to move forward in our increasing temperatures? I don't think so. State has limited resources, mainly the global south, where we have a lower tax resources. So how are we going to deal with the central state that's not going to be able to answer to all the needs of the many emergencies that are going to arise? We can see the evolution of the limits of the planet. This is really moves me. I cannot express it enough. We have 6 planetary limits that we have gone beyond in a very serious way, like the Center of Resilience of Stockholm. Those are the 6 out of 9 of green water and blue water. We have went beyond. The soil has lost humidity. Water that runs through the surface is more and more scarce or is contaminated. And in this sense, we are facing a very serious problem. For example, the crisis of plastic. There will come a time when we have more plastic than fish in the oceans. So how can we not be moved by that? How is it that the government don't do anything in the face of this severity of the problem? Public policy seems that is not being able to answer, and those that are the decision makers cannot answer to this. What happens is that democracy also starts to enter a crisis, and this is what we see throughout the world. There is a request for democracy, and democracy is not answering in order to solve for the material life, but also to solve for reduced consumption. We must think about it very seriously. What interests me the most, that you can see in the slides, is that to the right, there are so many political agreements. The Agreement of Paris, those have never been able to decrease the temperature, which continues to increase. So when we see this graph, we should answer that the policies is not working. So why are we continuing to do the same thing that had brought us to this moment in time, into this situation? We must face another direction. So if in 3 degrees we enter a very serious problem. We are going towards with current policies, we're going towards 2.4 increase in temperature. This is what we continue to do. We have gone beyond 1.5 degrees, and we are reaching a world of a lot of uncertainty. I know that's terrible what I'm telling you, but don't become anxious, please. We will have some proposals. We have the 5 conclusions of the scientific basis. And what interests me the most here is that in 2021, the IPCC acknowledged that the climate change is is intensified by man as well. I'm very critic with the IPCC because why it took them 50 years to say that, which something was very clear due to the limits, about the limits of growth. We must be very critical because science has to answer more quickly, swifter. Regarding the impacts and adaptation to vulnerability, 2 million people are in situation of vulnerability. They will be impacted by the climate crisis. We are in a world that's in crisis. So in the world, there is 1 million of species endangered. And in the coast of Chile, there are new species that have been recognized in 1 month's time. So we don't even know all the species. We don't know what's the meaning of losing a species. We don't have the understanding of this. So this is an important responsibility of human being. It is our responsibility. We must feel this responsibility. The climate crisis is even more serious because we depend on the ecosystems that maintain life. On the other hand, the pollution in water, the studies show that the global south in 2025 wouldn't have drinking water because it will be either contaminated or due to droughts. So the scenario is very serious, and I only like to show you that because this is important to know the seriousness of situation. We hope, like we need to know to hope that something happens because if we don't mobilize, um, we don't have time. We must present innovative solutions. We cannot continue in we. I haven't never been to COP. I haven't. I don't think because I think that if we don't change this space of COP, we are uh, lost. We must change the system, the way it's working. The change in the loss of biodiversity. We no longer have glaciers. We no longer have mangroves. Constructions have been done on top of mangroves. The coast, it has been degraded due to ports. The turfs that in some places are undergoing restoration. The native forests in Europe are now being restored. They must be protected. We must and we see that on the opposite is taking place. We don't have the whole time no more. Regarding animals, we are losing a great amount of species in this massive extinction. This has been this is the framework of anthropocentrism, of the infinite growth, that we must change our way of mind. Here, this bar represents the emissions of how the world is increasing in temperature, and below is the loss of biodiversity. So this means that the more the planet increase and the more forests are reduced, we are losing biodiversity, which is a huge problem. Energy crisis. The world wants to have more consumption, and the technology of replacing is slower. We cannot buy wind farms of sun farms as if it's not going to end, because we need fossil fuels. My country has a huge production of copper and lithium, and there is a pressure for exchanging in the climate power. Africa, for example, 80% of cobalt is produced in Congo, and there today there is a massive death. It's a huge problem of child labor. I always very guilty about the cell phones, because all cell phones carry a piece of cobalt of the wood, and it's responsible for the so this is the whitening of child labor. There is a problem of trackability. Congo exports 70% of cobalt. So we can no longer be part of these unfair transactions. There are false solutions, there are re-engineerings, but we can no longer continue to promote solutions that are the same that had brought us to this place. So false solutions will generate more expectancy and more pressure upon the system. So we must start speaking from other places. Science is questioning. Democracy as a system must be recovered and revalued. It seems that the world is undergoing a democracy of the 20th century, which used to be stable, but we see that it has been broken. There are signs that democracy is broken. Social media is accountable for that. Multiple responsibility, but we must revalue things. TikTok has a huge penetration into populations that are in need of information. The 21st century is the century of the civilizatory crisis. because it shows what we are undergoing. There is a loss of ecosystem. There is a deepening of extractivism generated by the global north, and the logic of green capitalism is not going to save us. We cannot solve a problem using the same things that had generated the problem. And the aspiration of neutral carbon, neutrality in carbon, I agree, but it's not going to work if there is not a reduce in consumption.
And the speech on neutrality of carbon takes us to generate something green washing, eco washing, and the quantity of resources demanded. There are no minerals in the world to make everything be done with ecological and solar energy. In other words, we are in countries that are limited. And this, how are we going to keep that, to maintain that? Because we're not going to go back to caves. What are we going to do to generate a change where we're going to consume less, so that we may be able to satisfy our needs from a place in which we have awareness, and to look at one another, because the individualism today is that we do not look at one another. So we have to once again focus to have that. There's going to be an increase of immigrations in Latin America and Europe, and we don't know how to respond to that. Many of the immigrations are climatic. We do not quantify that, but they are climatic. People migrate because of lack of water, because they don't have food. So the world is going to get into a tension with those immigrations. I saw a project that was trying to avoid people to migrate, doing restorations. I will see, Marina is going to send me that, but we have to avoid people migrating. We have to restore ecosystems so that people will not leave their places. If we plant, if we recover mountains with native vegetation where water will go back, then we don't need to be NASA scientists to think that those are possible solutions. Poverty is something that is happening exponentially. There's a lack of materials and the demand of consumption, which makes population, the richer population in the world, which is 1%, will increase poverty. It seems that the world is okay, that there's no problems. But there's a retrocess in the state, and we have to claim that public policies are necessary, because we need social order, and we need also, I say, from the scarcity of materials that is happening, that is not so visible. But it's happening when we buy food from all over the world. Chile is not producing anymore, for example, many grains, lentils, and soybean, and those lentils cannot be are for us, so we cannot continue exporting. So what can we do when you don't have food, or food sovereignty? So we have to think about a logic of safety and sovereignty, besides the questioning of democracy also. With that diagnosis that I know that is really hard, how are we going to restore that sustainability in life? Where do we put ourselves to be able to do that? So we need adaptation and local transition. And I tried to play around with that. I think that transition is more for the south and the north. It should diminish. I think that the word here is, we have to soften it. When we talk about growth, people think that no, we're gonna be poor. No, I hope that there are no economists here present, because economists have done of their knowledge, not maybe a dogma, but it seems that it's unquestionable. Traditional economy is unquestionable, but I resist that totally. An economist doesn't have to be more powerful than a doctor. Just imagine if medicine could determine certain things that are written on stone. So I question many of the many economists and engineers. In Chile, there are many commercial engineers that propose those solutions with a dogmatic economy. And along those lines, should not. What we should not do is echo anxiety. This makes us have that we feel like becoming like a tattoo, like a, I'm sorry, with that anxiety, it must be transformed. And echo anxiety, I make it an anger that makes me propose, suggest public policies, and that's where we have to position ourselves to become angry. Not do anything cannot be an option. We don't have to do that. Even though we lose the battle, I will go to bed restful, and I'm proud of myself because at least I've done something. I think everybody, all of you who are here in this auditorium, have something to do or to say. We cannot think that we do not make any difference. People who do not eat meat makes a difference. Meat consumption will diminish in kilos of less emissions, water, whatever. So yes, you can make a difference. And we also have to think about an ethical logic. That's not the logic. I eat meat, but I've reduced the quantity, the amount of meat that I eat. So I am a little more proud. I still have a lot more to do, but let's not question if I say water is not enough. Everything is enough. We have to, just like looking for Nemo, and then they break the nets and everything. We have to act like in fish schools. They promote changes. We have to look at the world through transdiscipline to know places, local knowledge of the original peoples who have different knowledge from us, and diversify knowledge, scientists, doctors, different knowledge, and need to talk to each other permanently because this has to occur always to look at the world from the complex, to look at that complexity. The world is not easy. There are complexities that we have to know how to solve it, to integrate the dialogue of different knowledge. We have to talk to local people, not because they don't have a university degree. That doesn't mean that they will know less than we do. Sometimes I know that I don't know anything. These people teach me things to revise, to read other paradigms. We need to get out of the box. The box is what you can do. And we don't get out of that. We need to get out of that space. And we can generate answers from 4 stages. I'm not talking about phases, or it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not linear. It can be one or another. The first stage, the individual. What changes I want to name. What changes I want to do? How do I position myself from my space? You have shown experiences that you are doing from your spaces, recognizing the severity of the crisis we are facing. What is lacking is to stop talking about it with words that fake the reality, human casualties. That people we have to talk in a way that will hide everything. The thing is ugly. We have to look at the ugly so that we can generate beautiful things. Green discourses, speeches that from echo washing. We talked about green mineration in Chile, mining, green mining. That doesn't exist. It's not green if you extract, but that's not green. Talking about solar panels and everything. So let's stop using speeches that are fake. People and citizens must participate in the food or whatever they had before. we should also seek inspiration because we must be inspired in people who have already said things. And I always talk about Rachel Carson because the person that I like the most, because of course she fought with chemistry, chemical industry alone in a time when women did not do anything through this book, Silent Spring. They did a lot of things, but they were not recognized. She basically did it alone. So we have to inspire in people who have done things already. We don't need to have targets like that. She's more simple. She wrote, denounced. So we have to get inspired in that type of people. We can make people on that stage that I talked to you about, individual stage. I believe that there are two aspects for them to participate in citizenship in this initial stage. How we get dressed, because the fashion industry really is really pollutant. A lot of pollution. The water it uses, plantation of cotton with pesticides, a very serious problem. And also, as you can see in the picture in the left, we have a landfill of clothes, which is one of the greatest in the world. Here we have clothes from Europe that go to Ghana, and also we have another landfill from my country, which is a landfill clothes also. How can I make citizens to participate in something day to day? I think that the most common are clothes because you always get dressed every day. But with of course, we have done that with people, women, older women, and also younger women in a community, which actually these things, that type of clothes do not get there. So they start presenting projects. They started creating solutions from their space. Therefore, clothes are something that we present to people, and it's massive. Another point also is to have a sustainable kitchen. Of course, kitchen is something that we also do in our day-to-day. It's where we have intimacy of our home. People can create that change. Sometimes people say that it's incredible the quantity of vectors that there are in the kitchen because we diminish, for example, the quantity of residues. We can also utilize some residues. We have a book, a recipe book, even with a watermelon cover, so we can like to reduce to zero. When reduce all that organic trash, we'll reduce methane gas. So we present to those people, and they will be in advantage. They will be aware of the climatic crisis to also reduce the usage of the consumption of meat, and also carbon in food. The people who are vegan, they emit 2 kilos of carbon, but somebody who consumes more would be 7 kilos of carbon. In other words, of course, this causes a diet. Our diet has an impact along those lines. Therefore, we have to present that. That's individual. From that stage, we are going to go to another one because people are already aware. People who do those public policies can present those two elements so that people will want to do something themselves for that cause. Of course, everybody needs to save themselves. On the other hand, that has to do with women, so we have to recover the magic that they have removed from our life. In other words, patriarchy has taken to capitalism, so we have to recover our knowledge, natural cycles to be reconnected with nature. We also need to recover the rhythms and the knowledge. Our rhythm is crazy, really, because our body, it seems like it needs 3 or 4 or 5 hours of sleep. Contrary-wise, you're not going to be productive to the system. I am transforming along those lines also because I've worked a lot, and now there are days that I don't want to do things, and it's okay. Nobody's going to die because of that. In other words, we need to go back to be witches. Once again, we need to be connected with everything that has been taken away from us. On the other hand, on the second stage, there is a community aspect. We have to be a mycelium. What is a mycelium? So we look at this. A mycelium actually is all the hidden network of fungi that are in the soil, contaminate and carbon, and also the They get together under the soil. They get connected with trees, for example, with other fungi. In other words, it's a network, as if internet in the soil. So what can we do then? Is to collaborate with us. In other words, if we continue in this logic only individually, of course, it's not the ideal thing, but the theory of evolution but it has been presented to us. In other words, also the collaboration among species. So we need to collaborate. Country-wise, on the contrary, how will society be better? Oh, the problem of my neighbor or whatever. So it's a crisis, a terrible crisis, because people feel alone. There's a lot of nostalgia. We need to create those communities in educating cities, have a very big community. So I think that it seems very interesting what you were doing, because there's that logic of being a Miscelio. Well, these are some examples of Miscelio that I have presented to you. In the picture that you can see here with the panels is a network of a project of energy distribution by citizens. The public demand is we don't need only energy in great scale, but we can also do energy with the citizens. In other words, we must plan, elaborate the projects. So the demand for the countries would be to have that type of possibility, because in many places, like in Chile, is very limited in relation to solar energy. So I think that it would be interesting in other countries. Our interconnected systems are very centralized. For example, if there's a lack of energy everywhere, but without energy, if energy being distributed and a citizenship energy, this would not happen. So we cannot have the logic only of the company that has to supply energy. No, now people can produce their own energy. We need solutions that the company, we're not going to be the only one to supply it, because we need to prepare people so that they will face this world that is heating, warming up, and there's going to be over 1.5 degrees. I told you before. In other words, the states will not be able to solve all the problems that the crisis is going to cause. Therefore, people also have to create solutions, and that's the way, one of the ways they can do it. Also, solar kitchens, as you can see here. Maybe it costs $4 for people, for example, who do not have electricity. Is a solution. It's a simple solution, because why don't we show that type of project so that people can do that? And also sustainable kitchens. If we have the food sovereignty, this will give resilience to people. We can make them cultivate grow their own foods without pesticides, and they can get a better health. Therefore, we need to go to those spaces, and the people who do public policies, the mayors, I believe a lot along those lines, because people who work in those sectors connect really well with people. They can create that type of thing. We don't need a decree for that. We can share with people. People can have that type of solution.
Let's talk about political incidency in social environment. We in education had realized that we need that people demand public policies. If we don't tell them what's the meaning of the climate crisis, how can they demand solutions for this problem? For example, if a population realizes that it's going to have problems in people due to landslide. So people have to know about things. So then they will speak with the congressmen and women. We must bring awareness to the people so that people can make their demands. And they can say, well, this is a wrong public policy, and then they do the request. But what happens is that people, on the contrary, they had distanced themselves from politics. So that's not the right way. We conducted several workshops, and we had wonderful results. People are going to the Congress. They are participating in the public spaces. We must cause this. The third stage is the creation of public policies, designing public policies, laws, decrees, focusing on solution of crisis. And we must adjust, be resilient towards this socio-ecological transition. It's not just about reduction of carbon emissions. It's about awareness. All countries must contribute for a reduction of emissions, of course, but the global south is different. We must solutions because we are being impacted the most. We must do this socio-ecological transition because the global south, the poorer countries, we don't have to talk about growth. We must speak about the transition to a different framework. This is what is to dispute narratives. It's not about any transition. In Latin America, countries are undergoing transitions that are because people are receiving many projects that end up with the vocation of the territories. For example, solar farms, huge projects that has nothing to do with the climate resilience of the place. So we must think local. The importance of local government and citizenship. The local government is the one that has to know when there are going to be floods. Due to the severity of the crisis, of the increase in temperature, of course the places are going to suffer. And the central government is not going to save everyone. So there is a logic of interdependence. Like the local government, it has to create public policies, but also demand from the federal government, the central power, to present the elements that we need. Usually the countries they grow their own seeds. So why not give the people seeds so that they can plant? Why don't we value once again people growing their own seeds? People must request that, get together and request the seeds, prepare the community to face the increase in temperature. We must have adjustment plans ready at hand, transition plans together with the citizens. This is concrete public policy because what we have today is a lot of planning, diagnosis, and we already know the diagnosis. So something must be put into practice. So climate action plans that can be done locally, because sometimes nationally don't reach where is needed. We must also connect the non-governmental organizations and mobilize citizenship. We must make people come to this place and demand from the central government the resources and the transferring of functions to face the climate crisis. Sometimes there are roles that these bodies don't meet our needs at every moment. So we must take care of that. This is what I mean by political resiliency. Now, protection of ecosystems needed for adjustment. This means that if we destroy an ecosystem, we will have more diseases, such as the COVID-19. This is a zoonose that occurs constantly due to the climate crisis. So therefore, we must develop this framework to build alternatives based on a fair socio-ecological transition. So what we see today is unfair because if you don't reduce the consumption, this is like a trap because it's not going to work. So that's my question. Everyone can drive an electrical car? Of course not. It's not sustainable. So we must have cities or municipalities that can attract, that can give support so people don't have to go by car to find things. It has to be a local market, a local consumption. So based on this fair social ecological transition, we will be able to to do the disputes of narrative that allow for um, a true reality, and with the mitigation and the adaptation, we must have elements. What are these elements? Environmental justice, environmental democracy. Like, we cannot no longer have, like, for example, let's use wind energy here. But sometimes this is not the right place, because this can impact the future generations. So everything must be reflected upon, and we must have climate activists. For example, there are activists of 10 years old, children, and they won't be activists, in fact, because this is unfair. They must have their normal childhood. So why must we demand them to do this activism? I think that it's not good that the government wants to include the children, because this they are engaging this youth in a certain discourse, and this so they are being becoming part the youth are becoming part of a political discourse, and this is not going to work. It's the same old discourse. Young people must be young people. So this problem is our problem, and we adults must be responsible for that, and we adults must become the activists. Well, this is the SDGs. It's very well known already. But I think that from this we must move to the next stage. The public policies is not just the SDGs, but at least this is a common ground for all. We must be very smart to overcome the barriers that of the discourse. We must think of solution based on nature-based solutions. Of course, we must have communion with nature, but this discourse allows us to be the management based on ecosystem, and this is the solution, nature-based solutions. For example, countries that have glaciers are, in fact, the reservoir of water frozen. If we lose the glacier, we're going to lose the water currents. So we must have a natural infrastructure to solve different things, because this makes us not use $55 million, for example, in China. If we end with the mangroves, we will have to use this amount to solve disasters, to solve the problems. So the Paris Agreement, their solutions we must verify maybe more natural solutions, so that are free, for example, and that bring us many benefits. So here I request that the economies please value this sort of solution, because of course we don't. It's not that if we don't have a lot of data, no problem. It doesn't mean it does not exist. Of course, there is something behind mitigation. For example, mining or electrical car. Everybody's interested in this, and this generates work as well. When we restore, for example, a territory, of course I'm going to need labor. The Social Ecological Transition Ministry in Spain, they launched the very interesting cards about how many professionals are needed to do a sort of restoration. It seems to me to be very interesting, because if many people work, we cannot say that the economy had reduced because the mining is not working. No, we must have other solutions. And these are not being considered today. And there are $50 million in services of ecosystems. And what does it happen when there is lack of humidity, or when the ecosystem does not allow water to be present in the soil? There is not just forests. When there is a 100-old forest, then we lose water. The cycle of water. If there is not the forest, I lose water. This is a question to pose the economies. If I don't have this water, how much I lose? The solution is more expensive and much more inefficient. If we fill all the cities and reservoirs with cement, this water that's kept also pose problems. And I want to say that cement is not the solution. There are studies in Chile that shows that the gray solutions are much more expensive and inefficient than those based on nature are free, that have no cost. So we must face that, and we must invest money. We are blind with the information because there is lack of information. Here is an example of how a city can manage its solution based on nature's glaciers, mangroves. The city of Concepcion that had undergone a earthquake in 2010, which was 8.8 in the Richter scale in Chile, it also had a tsunami, but it wasn't as strong because the mangroves that were kept there, they work as a sponge, and they keep the ocean waters that could be very dramatic unless they were there for the lives of the inhabitants. So we must, of course, the real estate want to build on top of mangroves, but the public policies makers, they must stop that. The values, the advantages of regenerative agriculture. Here, there is a document that talks about this agriculture. There are two very important advantages. First of all, carbon. If you throw this carbon on the soil, it eliminates its emission in the atmosphere, and it adds to the fertility of the soil. So we must go to the regenerative agriculture. It increases the fertility of the soil. So we must, then we won't need pesticides and fertilizers. And so this is a very interesting solution, because agribusiness also generate health problems with its pesticides. And who pays for it? It's the public health system. So the cost does not come from the private sector. We must start to question that. The fourth stage speaks about the representatives of such themes. Many people have good idea, but they sometimes are not bold to become the mayor or representative of an activist or a politician that risk itself to present such themes. We must internalize what we want to see in the world. So sometimes we must give this step forward and be bold enough to propose solutions. For example, if I am the assistant of a congressman, so I must be, maybe I'll have to move in spaces that are not as comfortable, but we must be in the spaces of power, because the power is a place of knowledge. If knowledge is abandoned from this space, terrible discourses arise. And we see this throughout Latin America, for example, how the leaders that have no idea whatsoever they speak. So the truth is that we must occupy this political place. Otherwise, someone else is going to occupy those places. And to conclude, I would say that we must have the preparation to survive this new era. It will be over 2 degrees. And why must we prepare? Because society we will have to overcome this crisis. And the social organization that we must do might lead us to a better consumption, to move towards transition in knowledge, to move towards a balance. But on the other hand, authoritarianism is also emerging because when there is lack of food, the people will go to the streets. And what can take place is that an exercise of authoritarianism will take place. And there are studies, publications about that, that things are moving in this sense. Maybe a new feudalism, a new fascism. Studies point out to that. So we must move towards this knowledge dissemination so that this does not happen. We must occupy these places of power in order to do this contention in this world of 1 degree, 2 degrees over. It's not going to be easy, but the whole work that we will be doing of searching for and improving, we must, maybe we are successful, so we must not hurt ourselves. We must feed ourselves well. We must move forward. We must reduce consumption, change our economy. We must do so many. Like, do we need so much clothes? Some clothings we use 7 times and then we it's a waste. Then we discard it. We dispose of it. We must be conscious, and we must equip for that. Thank you so much for your attention.
Graças a Deus. Por enquanto não, tá? Já vou trazer água. Vou deixar pra
tecnologias comprovadas para trazer soluções eficazes que melhorem continuamente a qualidade da educação. Estamos comprometidos em ter um impacto social positivo, promovendo igualdade e inclusão. Lançamos a coleção Cidades Educativas, que explora a própria cidade como um verdadeiro laboratório de aprendizagem. Buscamos aumentar a cidade e educação, inspirar a criação de novas formas de agir, mais produtivas e propícias à aprendizagem. Muito orgulho de representar a Aprender Editora, uma empresa que atua no cenário educacional brasileiro, desenvolvendo materiais didáticos semi-saturados, formação contínua e projetos educacionais. Hoje são mais de 300 municípios atendidos e mais de 600 mil alunos alfabetizados com a ajuda dos projetos da Aprender Editora em todo o Brasil. O desenvolvimento de competências empreendedoras para o mercado de trabalho, projetado pelo nosso parceiro GitHub, Programa de Desenvolvimento de Soft Skills, leva o estudante a desenvolver uma visão de futuro de um homem capaz de criar seu próprio projeto de vida. Venha conhecer o Compass Educação na direção certa.
Bom dia. Buenos días. Por favor, si todo el mundo puede poner los auriculares.
Can you please put your headphones on so we can start?
¿Puedo falar?
Pessoas baixaram água e esgoto com 77% de desconto para comunidades quilombolas, rurais e povos originários. Começamos a levar água tratada. Sanepar para quem? Para famílias vulneráveis. Caixa d'água de graça. A primeira ligação na rede de esgoto gratuita. Sanepar para quem? Ambiente, preservação e a recuperação de mananciais. Sanepar você e todos os paranaenses. A vida com a Sanepar é melhor. Paraná, terra de gente que trabalha e cuida.
Of the international, in the name of the International Secretary of Educating Cities, I would like to welcome everyone who is present here in Curitiba, as well as those who are watching us remotely, for the delivery of the Educating Cities Award 2024, which is on the 5th edition. In this occasion, the award is related to best practices out of the total of 66 nominated experiences. We selected 10 and 3 winners who were innovative, impactful, and whose results could be transferred. To start the awards ceremony, I'd like to give the floor to the General Secretary, Marina Canas. Dear friends, for us it is a pleasure to honor the technical and political teams that made these projects possible. I'm not talking only about these 10 cities which were here, but also the 55 cities that presented 66 candidates from 11 countries. I believe that in this assembly we all win, because the goal of these awards is simply to value the efforts of these teams and inspire new cities, so that, take into account these experiences, they can be inspired to work for this cause. The executive committee held these awards of educating with values, not just because of the importance of value-based education, but also because of everything that has to do with influencing and promoting attitudes and behaviors that allow good relationships between citizens, which in itself is something positive. It's also a call towards the values of inclusion, diversity, non-discrimination. The idea is to encourage intercultural dialogue, intergenerational dialogue, all things that have to do with participation, governance, taking care of people with special needs, building a healthy environment that respects the environment, education relating to values, democracy, attitudes that encourage respect, tolerance, solidarity, participation, and so that we can all win. So that's why today it's a huge celebration. I encourage you to continue working and to pay attention to the projects that will be shown today, because they show the strong commitment of local governments who have worked strongly to educate their citizens. Thank you to all the cities that took part, and my most sincere congratulations to the 7 finalists and the 3 winners. Thank you. Thank you, Marina. Now, to continue, I'll give the floor to the Mayor of Curitiba, Rafael Greca. Good morning. Please welcome. It's a huge joy and already a bittersweet reminder of these 3 wonderful days of the World Education Congress here in our city, in our green Barigui Park. Today we have a typical day of Curitiba before the climate tragedy. We are wet. We are a city of a more intense green, of more flowery gardens. And some of the most powerful forests of subtropical Brazil. We have had moments of intense heat and long periods of drought. So we are a city which is quite resilient, which is focused on the idea of educating for the environment, educating for the planting of trees, educating for total mobility, educating for equality of opportunities for all. We want an inclusive school. We want inclusive schools, disruptive schools, but above all, humanistic. We don't want education that is created to destroy the values of Parmenides, Socrates, Aristotle, and Plato, and all the wise persons who are responsible for the cultural framework of humanity. We also want a school that takes into account Buddha, Lao Tzu, as well as the ancestral knowledge of the forest peoples and of all the ancestral peoples of humanity. A school that is universal will be a school able to encourage innovation and the good things that we want. To close this World Education Forum, I would like to remind all the teachers, masters, professors, all the doctors present. I'd like to remind you the great lesson that we are, the good that we do. When we do good, on those days we exist. On the other days, we only last. So pay attention, because students, boys or girls, always need to have intense moments in school, because it's a time provided for them to form their spirits and to open their spirits to the potential of humanism, and so that they can flower towards life. Do not take from children neither what's on the left or on the right, what should be the basis of all education, which is to found their teaching on the human heart, on the human spirit, on the breath of the Creator that is the essence of life. Hooray to education. Hooray to the institutions who take care of educating cities. Thank you very much for having come here. And let's wait now for the next Congress, be it wherever it is. I hope it can be an occasion of humanism, respect, and hope towards the future of mankind. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, for your beautiful words. This year, the jury was made up of 5 members. Mr. Felipe, professor honorário, a science teacher. Lícia Cabeçudo, an education sciences teacher from Buenos Aires. Mr. João Manuel de Poço, a teacher at the University of Girona, and representatives of 2 ISCA schools represented by Ana Gil, and the city of Brussels represented by Jennifer Dumina. To all of you, I would like to thank you greatly for your critical analysis, for these hours of education, and for all the presentations. Most members of the jury unfortunately could not be here in person, but they are present virtually. We had their evaluations, and we will see the images now. Wonderful projects. It shows the commitment of cities is something that is quite precious and difficult. A city can be an educating city, taking care of its materials and the safety of each person, especially of the most vulnerable and children and the elderly. An educating city, when it struggles against all forms of segregation. and it allows a meeting. So this meeting is very precious. It is a way to break down discrimination. For the production of humanistic values, the promotion of peace, justice, and equity. So these are the principles that lead us to more democratic societies. So these values have a double component. Etiological component, which on one side have a meaning, a personal character on one hand, which means also space. And it is interesting to recognize this characteristic, but at the same time, this character is fed on the collective space, a collective space which starts by the family and culminates in a city. This balance between individual and the collective is quite rich, and we must understand that we only grow humanely, ethically, and collectively as a source of improvement. This reality ensures that the Educating Cities project can have a ward in educating values, because there is the possibility of improving people and collective aspects that we should also take part with enthusiasm. This construction should be collective. We need to establish peace. This culture of peace is established, which is part of human values. All these aspects of political policies should establish peace as a priority, as a goal to be reached in all areas. The construction of a culture of peace is a goal of education. Sorry, we are not receiving audio. It's not possible to interpret right now. We apologize for the inconvenience. The video's audio is not up to standards. We cannot interpret.
Thank you so much to all the members, to all the Educating Cities members. We had some problems with the audio, especially in the Spanish channel. It was impossible to hear the video, but everything is going to be available to you at our website, and you have subtitles in English there, so you will have everything available in the website. I'd like to thank Jennifer. She represents Brussels here. She actually had a baby and she wasn't able to be here in the video, but she contributed very much in recruiting the the winners. So big hug to Jennifer. So now we're going to give away the certificates of the Educating Cities 2024 awards. So I'm going to start calling names here. Apucarana, the city of Apucarana. Let's give them a round of applause. Apucarana is a city that embraces everybody. Mr. Sebastião Marques Jr., he's the mayor of Apucarana. Ms. Marli Silva, she's the Secretary of Education. She's going to give away the awards. Ms. Maria Cambas from Brussels, she's the architect in the City Hall of Brussels. Thank you so much to the city of Apucarana for its experience and everything that you shared with the cities. And let's keep going. Let's give them a round of applause to a very important city, a winner too, Manresa. Casa da Paz Solidarity, on behalf of Manresa's institution, let's give the award to Mr. José Paranta from Barcelona, and the certificate of the city of Rosario, the Vice President Carolina Lavairo, the Secretary of Citizen Management. Thank you very much to Maresa for its experience. And now the next finalist is the city of Playa del Carmen. Because of its experience, resilience, let's call Miss Aide Sanchez. She's the coordinator of Educating Cities, and she's going to give the awards to the representative of Barcelona, Miss Pilar. She's the president of that institution. And now we're going to keep going with the experiences of the 5th edition of Educating Cities 2024. Thank you, the city of Playa del Carmen. Sorry. And now, the next finalist is the city of Porto in Portugal because of its experience in the program Coziness, Aconchego, Casa and Companhia. Mr. Paulo from the Municipal Chamber of Porto. Ms. Marina Cara will give him the award. She's the secretary of IC. Thank you to the city of Porto. And now we are going to receive the next city, the city of Raul Soares, because of its experience, Clube Ciência. Ms. Luisa Araújo Faustino. She's the attorney of the Reference Center of Social Assistance of the project Matriz Educadora. She will give the certificate to the city. The city of Brussels will give the award to Miss Marina. Thank you so much to the representative of the city, Raul Soares. And let's keep going. Let's do it. And please, let's give a big round of applause to the city of Sant Boi de Llobregat for its experience and the celebration of the refugees, the International Day of Refugees. Ms. Maria Veras, she is representing this city, Sant Boi de Llobregat, the vice president of Rosario, Carolina Navarro. She's the secretary of citizen management in the city of Rosario in Argentina. Oh. Thank you. Thank you so much to Sant Boi de Llobregat. Congratulations to the other finalists from Buenos Aires with the Sustainable Ministry. Unfortunately, she isn't here in person, but we want to give her a round of applause, a digital round of applause from here to her. And then let's keep moving. Let's give now a big round of applause to the audience. Let's clap. Ciudad de Mexico, City of Mexico, because of its experience. So, Mr. Javier, he's the general coordinator of the educational system in Ciudad de Mexico. And to give him the award, Mr. Rafael Greca, the mayor of Curitiba. And the evaluation of this, it was great. I mean, the construction of this more than 290 points of innovation in freedom and arts, education and knowledge distributed, spread out to the whole city of Ciudad de Mexico is so important. And it's good to empower the citizenship of those, the people in City de Mexico, Ciudad de Mexico. So let's see. Let's listen to the representative of Ciudad de Mexico. Can hear him. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. This Ciudad de Mexico, we're so honored and proud to be here to receive this international award of educating cities, good practices of education, and good values. To us, this is so meaningful. It's so nice to receive this award in the city of Curitiba, Brazil, in the city where innovation is innovation. Innovation means social innovation. Since 1994, they created the Lighthouse of Knowledge, of innovation and rights to really sow new models. And during decades in Mexico, there was a model of government just translated by corruption. Corruption was the center of our government there in Mexico, and everything was under that. Sports, culture, art were just products to generate money, and thousands of people didn't have access to these important services, important rights to the population. And then we've been doing this so well now. And then we created the the communitary education system, Pilares. Pilares is very relevant, it's so important. And this perspective of creating that we guarantee the right of education in all segments of the population, from little babies to children and young people, adults, and so. This is extraordinary. And then from all the development isn't done only in community but also in the families, and everybody participates strongly. Kids, youth, moms, dads, grandparents, in this all these activities that it converts in this meeting point, communitary meeting point. Each person that crosses the doors, that go through the doors of Pilares, will really use that space for development and growth, that it's transforming to the community. Everything, not only education, but the activities, the sports, cultural activities, economic autonomy, the code school programming and everything, training to work trainings, and also the skills to work any kind of work. So everything, robotics, plumbing, box dancing, music, drama, gastronomy, and so on. So, and also we rescue the knowledge and also regional languages, Mexican original ancient languages in Mexico and everything, the ancient knowledge of the school of kitchen, culinary, and everything. And now we are actually favoring the the populations and also the more vulnerable peoples there. So through the citizens of the city of Mexico and then Dr. Martin Duarte Yamahama and everybody that from Pilares we work daily to build a city of rights. I'd like to really express our deep greetings, our deep thanks to the this committee to choosing us as winners, because it's so nice to share what we share. And thank you so much. Viva Curitiba! Viva the educating cities! Hooray!
The culture, sports, economic autonomy, and grants for the youth. All the youth that are here not necessarily will become lawyers, or we will have all sorts of students. We can build teamworks, and we will be represented. The youth no longer have to once again, the sound is not so good. The music on top does not allow for translation. The videos are with too high of a music. But we'll try our best. This will probably be the opportunity to once again this sound. So we stop the translation. So the the places that were chosen, they are places of high level of vulnerability and violence. Community education, sharing of knowledges, focusing on the problems that affect the communities. People that are here, they are prepared. They give the our feeling, conveying feeling of safety. Once again, let me say that the music's behind the video and the background music, and it's interfering for us to do the translation. Uh, so we teach that we have the opportunity that at times when we receive certification, they give us they. So I'm very proud of all this. I'm very proud of having achieved community respect, appreciation, learning pillars that have been conveyed in the city. 294 educational spaces, over 150 activities, over 740 entrepreneurs, 14 originary languages, national Mexican languages. In 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 Pilares, we promote community with important activities in the city of Mexico, with the orchestra of Pilares joined by the largest orchestra of the world, a massive class, an opportunity that's very important, a very strong opportunity for us elderly people, because we don't have the ability and the knowledge. We don't use the computer so well, so it gives us a lot of work. And here they're giving us this opportunity freely. Pilares present a very important wave of transformation, transforming the lives in every corner of the city, so these people can give a new meaning to their lives. Thank you very much for the City of Mexico. Like resume on giving the awards of the 3 cities of this fifth education of educating cities. So now let's give a strong hand of applause to the Moji municipality of Odivelas and its experience in the interreligious dialogue. Now let me invite the Secretary of the municipality of Odivelas to give this award to the representative of Barcelona. The judge had evaluated the to giving the awards the demystification of religions and reducing the differences between religions, fostering a better understanding of the religious practices, fostering community respect, valuing the cooperation among different sectors of the municipality and the grant given by the university. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I- Ah, não. Chama ele.
Acho que não vão traduzir o vídeo.
The sound is too low, the music is in the background, it's not possible to hear very clearly.
Está em português.
Não.
Então deixa.
Today we have students of 47 nationalities. Allows for today the diversity that strengthens our identity, making us more abundant, more resilient, different cultural heritage. The strategy of inclusion is a very important proof of strength. This document has been elaborated, has been developed together with the Department of Technology. It's been a 1 year's work. It was possible to map and geo-reference the places and create 44 unities. They had been developing with a lot of effort. This has been a constant attitude in all activities related to municipality. This prayer for peace was conducted in 2008. It's a moment of prayer open to all population, believers or not, regardless of their faith. The Week of Interreligious Harmony is the largest event. It contemplates a huge program of participants. There is a gastronomy fair. There is workshops of many different religions. This project in Portugal was first developed, and then they decided to have new editions, 2021 and 2022. The gastronomy fair is much more than just a food trade show. It's about promoting the culture of different areas. By means of the constitution of the Municipal Council of Integration of Migrants, or the VELAS, we affirm the respect for our culture and the construction of a more open society, which is empathic and solidarity. The municipality of Odivelas was then invited to participate in the 30th International Symposium about Rights and Religion. And due to this project that I just told you, governmental leaders, NGOs, civil society of over 65 countries had participated. The participation of Odivelas was very well received. Throughout the last few years, many initiatives had brought the municipality of Odivelas a main role promoting equality against discrimination. So it's important to highlight that every citizen, men and women, are responsible to build a fair and egalitarian society. To live daily with peace is to live with differences and different languages, universal respect. We believe that peace is a permanent construction and requires the participation of all of us. We are constantly connected with all peoples and communities. Today, more than ever, we restate our commitment with the dignity of human beings. Thank you very much. And to conclude, give a strong hand of applause to the municipality of Santo André and its experience, water, health, and social communication. I will invite to the floor Mr. Paulo Henrique Pinto Serra, the mayor of Santo André, to give the award to Mrs. Lina Canal, the General Secretary of AIS. Yeah, yes. This initiative was evaluated as something very positive. It's a project that was developed in areas of high vulnerability, and this allowed for the raise of awareness of the youth regarding socioeconomic issues by means of training, audiovisual instruments, short movies to sensitize the community. It's good to highlight also the participation of many different municipal secretariats for the realization of this project. Now, I'm going to give the floor to the mayor of Santo André, Mr. Paulo Henrique Pinto Serra. Good afternoon to you all. It's a great satisfaction to be here in this morning. I want to greet the Major Rafael Greca on behalf of all the authorities here. Thank you for the welcoming in this wonderful city of Curitiba. Curitiba is a reference in innovation and urbanism, and we are always so happy to have the opportunity to visit Curitiba and bring great experiences in the public management to bring to our city in Santo André. Santo André is a city located in the metropolitan region of São Paulo, a few kilometers from São Paulo city. It's part of what we call the greatest corner of Brazil because it's located between the Santos Port, which is the largest port of Brazil, and the international airport of Cumbica, which is the largest airport of Brazil. There is the highway that passes through the region, 7 conurbated city with over 2 million inhabitants. We have all the challenges that you can imagine of a large metropolitan area with its grandeur, which is the so-called ABC region. Its economic vocation until the 1990s was mainly industries, mainly car industries and services that surrounded that industry. But with the deindustrialization process that ended up by falling upon many regions was very abrupt in the ABC region, and it forced us to look into other vocations. Today we have a large amount of services. It's an important logistics hub, and we had taken upon ourselves, since our management, innovation as an economic vocation, applying in many areas. In face of all the challenges, since we are into a metropolitan region, we have many inequalities inside our region itself. Nonetheless, we are privileged because we can have a public and private education universalized to all our citizens. In Santo André, we are able to get the blackboard with technological tablets, and we believe in the integration education with a view of the broad universe. And we have received many awards. 2022, we were among the finalists in South Korea with our environmental schools. With the Association of Educating Cities. It was a reason for great pride for us. In the southeast region of Brazil, we are the lowest rate of illiteracy in cities above 500,000 inhabitants. So this gives us an important position to the city of Santo André. The project that has received the award called Water Camera Action, in addition to its education approach, is also show the importance of our environmental management. The Secretariat of the Environment has 25 years of existence. Santo André was one of the first cities that had placed the environmental agenda as in a very important position in our public policies. This makes the total difference. Our city is resilient. Our city is developing the first foam park in Brazil. We apply public policies to fight against global warming. We have this as our priority. And once you unite education with the environment crisis, we have great results, such as the award that we are here today receiving. This project, besides all this, Mayor Greca brings an important component, which is aligning good management practices, tax auditing, uh, adding to all that, management that take care of the people. So aligning economic growth and sustainability and respect to our resources, we are very happy. And in addition, this project brings an element which is very important, which is the belonging. So when they ask me which is the most important work of our management, of our administration, is rescuing this sense of belonging, seeing the city as an extension of our homes, a city that generates more and more better quality of life. And to conclude, bringing the most important aspect to the end is to congratulate our team from SEMAS and from Environmental Department that are here present. I want to quote Elaine, is our manager responsible for the project. Elaine says, we become even more satisfied to know that we have been awarded due to this special project that engaged over 300 young people from Santo André and over 1,000 of people in the exhibition of the short movies that are the result of the program Water Camera Action. The possibility of replication of these experiences, the dimension of territories and the aspect of being transversal were criteria that that brought the award to us. It's a great pride for us to receive this award. The city of Santo André wants to thank you all. Thank you so much.
Water camera action. It's so important to participate in a course like this. I'm really happy because this could have made a difference and will make a difference ahead. Santo André is a city in the metropolitan city of São Paulo, which is a great urban Brazilian city. It's a big city with about 750,000 people. It's a city that is very special in environmental terms. At the same time that we have the zone of environmental protection with more than half of the territory. We also have the urban area. So we have the two features, two characteristics present in the same city. This makes us to be really careful to protect those areas. At the same time, which these areas, water areas, environmentally sensitive, it brings a healthy environment. It also has urban pressures. That's why several areas of vulnerability, social and environmental vulnerability, has motivated the elaboration of this project to work in those areas together with the young people from 15 to 19 years of age with their experience in utilizing important resources for ambiental resources, and to work the awareness of working with the protagonism of young people for the preservation of those areas that we have in Santo André. My name is Kwawani. This project happened through a development in three aspects: environmental perception, the video cinema documentary, and the final aspect of digital entrepreneurism. Totally, we have about 300 young people, and at each class of development, we had a production short movies, about 48 short movies, and at each finalization of classes, we would have the debate cinema. The young people in their communities, locally, and we also did central debates We also published a book that has the same name, Water is the Future of Waters Now. And in that publication, we have the trajectory of the project inspired. It's a new project in Santo André and very innovating because we have utilized audiovisual resources in a process of environmental education. And this was done in a shared way with the young people as protagonists, and it has allowed young people to stimulate new feelings of belonging, and especially citizenship formation. When we think about environmental conservation, also water conservation, which is a fundamental asset to all the planet and to all of us. Hello, everybody. Thais, I am 20 years old, and I belong to the Water Government Action Project. My video specifically talked about water rationalizing. It shows the story of the history of our country, and we also know about this in our society, and we can feel a little bit of how this affects the distribution of water, not only in Brazil, but all over the world. The project was really important because it has allowed a space of protagonism, especially in peripheral regions. And we have debates, environmental debates, in our experiences. Then in Santo André, we have we not only learned, but it was really nice to our neighbors and our family members with everything that we have learned. Thank you so much, and congratulations for the winning cities for this 5th edition of Educating Cities for their inspiring experiences. Let's continue immortalizing this moment with a picture with the 3 winning cities, City of Mexico, Odivelas, and Santo André, and the authorities that have followed us during this ceremony. Thank you so much. We'd like to thank once again the presence of the Mayor of Curitiba, Rafael Greco, who has been with us in today's journey during all the Congress. To conclude, we would like to invite also Mr. Rafael Greca. He has other projects and commitments, and now we have to say goodbye to him. But we take advantage to invite the other finalist cities to be with us during this ceremony, to come up to the stage for a final picture of the group. We'd like to invite also all of you to come up to the stage, the representatives of Pucarana, Marisa, Praia do Carmen, Porto, Raul Soares, and By the Brigade, please come up to the stage. Come up to the stage for the picture. Sorry, please. The finalist cities can come up to the stage. We'd like to invite you to stay on the stage for us to have a final picture of all those experiences as winners. We would like to invite to the stage the Councilwoman of Education, Maria da Silva, who will be with us and representing the city of Curitiba. Thank you very much to all of you, and a strong round of applause to all of them. Congratulations once again. Thank you very much. Not only to the finalist cities and winners, but to all who have participated, have been and represented and shared with us those practices in education and values. We'd like to remind you that you can find those experiences both in the web page of IAC, but also in the new database of IAC, and also from other editions too, and other experiences that along the years have been published in our database of experiences. We count on you all in the next edition of the awards and everything. A nice round of applause. The next edition will be the ceremony of educating cities 18th Congress of IAEC in the city of Ganyes. Thank you very much to all of you. We will go ahead to the concluding ceremony of this 18th, 17th Congress of Educating Cities. Thank you very much. session. In a few more moments, we have the concluding ceremony of our Congress. So yes, please remain with us in the auditorium because in a few moments we will start the closing ceremony of our Congress. Thank you very much.
Ainda não acabou.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome. Please put on your headphones and tune in your channels, in the screens and lateral screens, sideline screens, so that you can follow our ceremony in your favorite idiom. All of you can hear me now perfectly? Okay, so we will start at this moment the closing ceremony of the 17th International Congress of Educating Cities. And we will begin with the declaration of the 17th International Congress, Curitiba, Brazil 2024. Between 21 and 24 of May 2024, in the city of Curitiba, we had the 17th International Congress of the International Association of Educating Cities. You see, getting together representatives of 136 cities from 12 countries from 4 continents. Reflection, the main thing was sustainability, innovation, and inclusion in educating cities, transforming the present. This theme has been developed through conferences, workshops, dialogue spaces, posters, and study visits. Organized with 6 thematic axes. The first one is social sustainability, inclusion, and cultural pluralism. The perspective of sustainability is based on the interdependence on natural ambience, socio-economic, and cultural. Respect and care with nature are part of the need to guarantee the right of a life that is worthy and quality for the set of citizenship based on equity, living together, and well-being. This concept include inclusion and non-discrimination, respect to plurality and cultural diversity and individual diversity, social justice, human rights, equality of gender, the culture of peace and non-violence, perspective of citizenship that is active and co-responsible. The second thematic axe has to do with environmental, economical sustainability, innovation, and territorial transformation. Social innovation leads to new economic and environmental perspectives, potentialized logic of aprendizagem in the city, and boosting, fostering the transformation of territories. These different transformations, ecological, social, institutional, and territorial, can contribute to promote changes in lifestyles. And at the same time, it's necessary to review the models of production and consumption to advance to circular, solidary, inclusive models and symbiosis with nature, protecting and regenerating it.
The next theme is about education for sustainability. Citizens' education in its modalities, which are formal, non-formal, and informal, and the purpose and the motor and the engine of sustainability. And educating cities concerned with current problems related to sustainability, the resilience of communities in the face of climate changes, the innovation, the inclusion, and the search for encouraging development and dissemination of initiatives that offer opportunities. To this end, it will be promoted the construction of knowledges, the sensitization and formation of an active citizenship that is co-responsible and contribute to transform the relationship between people and among people and nature, and to build a new social paradigm that places life in the center. The Educating Cities stated that cities are points of convergence of complex processes that are dynamics and at times contradictory. Considering the diverse imbalances and social environmental crises that we see currently, one of the greatest challenges of current world is to establish a positive harmony among human actions and the conscious use of natural goods. Current conditions of production and reproduction of lives has been demanded an economic and social development of cities that are based on sustainable initiatives based on respect, protection of the environment and its diverse ecosystems that promote the adoption of lifestyles that are more healthy. Two, innovative initiatives that allow for find creative solutions for contemporary problems that bring about new values and logics in society that contribute to the development of people. Three, inclusive initiatives regarding equality, equity as a guiding principle to promote societies that are fairer and more solidary. The 17th International Congress of Educating Cities had focused on the educating abilities and in the transformative abilities of people and cities. The content had promoted reflection and exchange of experiences that are inspiring and that transform have the potential to transform the present into a future that are prosperous and sustainable. The Educating Cities commit to one, encourage the principle of equity, aiming at personal autonomy and personal, social, and professional autonomy and development with people who are functional diversity and or in vulnerable situation, promoting their inclusion as active citizens, and in this way aiming at its full development and the increasing the quality of life in the city. Aspects that are social, educating, and individual will be considered, and promoting an education in quality, accessibility, and sustainability. Networks, interpersonal networks and community networks will be strengthened, aiming at an intersectorial commitment to ensure equality of opportunities. Two, encourage the participation of children that is autonomous and citizen in a city that welcomes and respects children, promoting spaces for dialogue in which the priority is given to the childhood in its different levels of the municipalities in the public agenda. To this end, the active participation in the community will be encouraged by means of implementation in the public policies. Three, promoting actions that occur in different spaces of the city, articulating cultural plurality, intergenerational dialogue, and respect to diversity, fostering spaces for the meeting of differences, where the human dimension is the starting point and the construction of a feeling of belonging among the human values. Education being one of the main tools to the construction of a path to peace. Implementing actions that promote the participation of local community in the territory and that has impact on it. This encompasses the search from the local government to find solutions to the possible environmental problems, aiming at the social perspective and the economic perspective, meeting the complexity of the causes that generate by means of actions that engages the community, democratize access to information and knowledge and technologies, to foster the implementation of public policies that are intersectorial and that promote changes in the local management themselves and in the habits of citizenship. All these aiming at the adoptions of lifestyle that are sustainable, such as to foster the use of bicycle, improve public transportation, improve renewable energies and energy efficiency, and reduce the generation of waste and encourage the recycling, the reusing, and to increase the green in the urban area, to take care of the courses of water, among other initiatives, and to have practices as the reduction of food waste, the interchange of recyclable materials, aiming at the adoption of sustainable habits, the food security and nutritional security.
Okay.
Access to clean energy for all people, especially women, and contribute the energy transition to decarbonization and the reduction of environmental impacts. 8. Create and expand sustainable urban spaces through green infrastructure and the maintenance and the rehabilitation of outdoor public places such as gardens, squares, parks, aiming at the rewilding of the city, the reorganization of ecological relationships and the regeneration of ecosystems, recognizing that nature-based solutions are key strategies to address climate change and other environmental problems. 9. Implement intersectoral committees for environmental education formed by public institutions and organized civil society, and support the development of environmental education programs, strengthen public policies for education, for sustainability, which include, in particular, increased training for adaptation to climate change and thus reduce the losses and damages caused by this phenomenon in communities.
Não estou ouvindo. Então, the academic search, the publication, and the increase in the social environmental current problems, focusing on the problems of climate change and the loss of biodiversity. 11, to promote learning experiences that are eco-social in all levels and educative modalities to sensitize and foster attitudes that promote modes of more responsible lives based on the understanding on interdependent relations of the human life and the limits of the planet. 12, to establish training programs that continues for the educative agents as well as to the whole community. Programs that promote the active participation and the co-responsibility to ensure the survival of future generations as well as current ones that take care of the lives and the equality of opportunities to all people.
We, the city members, are convinced of the urgency of developing initiatives oriented to the care of the common good. Therefore, they conclaminate to the set of citizenships in the supramunicipal administrations to face social environmental problem of today with responsibility, competence, and commitment, seeking solutions based on the development of actions and visionary policies and assertive policies in the perspective of sustainability, of innovation, and of inclusion. At this moment, we'd like to invite the manager of the Brazilian Network of Educating Cities, the Municipal Secretary of Education, Professor Dr. Maria Lucia Bacila, to keep the territory symbol of the city of Curitiba and of the banner of Educating Cities for the city that will host the 18th International Congress of Educating Cities Grand Knowledge, represented here by the Vice Mayor Álvaro Ferreira. The prototype of the Lighthouse of Knowledge Innovation was manufactured in a 3D printers in one of our lighthouses, Spacemaker. This banner has been customized in patchwork, which is handiwork with retails, known by its diversity of colors and forms that instigate imagination and creativity. I'd like to, right now, to invite the Mayor of Granada, Álvaro Ferreira, for his considerations and comments. Good afternoon. First of all, I would really like to convey all our solidarity and also our empathy to all the population, cities, and people in the state of Rio Grande do Sul who have suffered these last days, this disgrace, of these floods. Thank you, Curitiba, for allowing us to be part of this Congress.
You embraced us with your open arms, and during these days we had the opportunity to share knowledge, to meet, to do networking and unite strengths, our powers to improve our cities and to improve the world by means of partnerships that are key to move forward. Thank you so much, Curitiba, to make this possible. Thank you, Mayor Rafael Greca, for the hospitality, for the welcoming. Thank you all mayors and representatives of the municipalities that have participated. Thank you, my friends of EAEC. There is no better way to take on the baton for next year, taking this with us. Our major wanted to come here, but she couldn't come due to health issues. Now I'm going to read the words that she would like to convey. Before that, I want to share with you a small story, sorry. a small video. It is a collective story. It's a beautiful story. We expect, we look forward. Well, there is this subtitles because the sound is not so well. We're waiting for you. Granollers had received the baton from Curitiba, and we want to transform our city, the space of knowledge, a space where we can use the current challenges to build spaces that are more equitative and fair. Education is a common goal of all our cities. It is key for the building of a more promising future. A network governance that is transversal. We are convinced that among all of us, we can do things that will improve all our communities. So we wait for you in 2026, Grenollers, and we will start to work towards a forum that reflects on the better future for our society, focusing on the complexity of our cities, the polarization of societies, and the creative abilities of the population. We are prepared to host an important event, and we commit to do it with our soul, with all counting on many people that really encourage us and that will foster this event. Now I want to mention a few people that should be here, that they should be here to feel the same emotion that I'm feeling today. They allow Granillier to be what it is, and that take on itself with great happiness, to take upon ourselves to hold the next Congress. We have a challenge now, but we know that we can count on you, my friends from ICE, and friends that are part of this great family. The last days we spoke, we established dialogues, we met, and many conversations. The words were used for us to get to know one another, to share. The city that has the vice presidency, I cannot pass this opportunity to tell you that today more than ever we need to place the word and the dialogue at the top. It has made us more human. And so that finally arms are silenced and people shall speak. So, once again, let me tell you that we are waiting for you in Grenollers in 2010-6 with an open arms to build a promising future for our cities and for the future generations. Allow me to conclude with Shakespeare words. The cities are its people, because with them because with the people of my city and with you, we will build the 28th Congress of Educating Cities. Thank you very much.
Muito obrigado ao vice-prefeito de...
Thank you very much for the Vice Mayor of Grenollers for his final considerations for in the conclusion of the 28th Congress. I invite Professor Dr. Marilia Garcia. Ladies and gentlemen, today we conclude a journey that's memorable. In the 17th Congress of Educating City that had take place in Curitiba between the days 21st and 24th of May. This event that gathered 126 cities of 12 countries together with this international expo exhibition that had contemplated 16,000 employees of the network of education in Curitiba. This was a benchmark of sharing, learning, cooperation, and democratization of opportunities. Throughout these days, we had witnessed moments of intense sharing of experiences and knowledges, where each city that is here had brought its contributions that are unique. It's in a true show of diplomacy and international cooperation. Thank you very much. Thank God I had written in the words. So, in this scenario, the protagonism of Brazilian cities were very important, highlighting the rich cultural diversity of this nation that is so vast and multifaceted. Curitiba feels itself to be awarded to be the headquarters of this wonderful Congress and to have the ability to show the world the power of our education. And to that, I want to express my most deep gratitude to all that had contributed for the success of this Congress. Now I want to ask for a hand of applause to all the people of Curitiba that had contributed so that we reached this place, this moment. So here we have some dozens of people, but there are hundreds, thousands of Curitibians that had contributed with us. People from the Secretariat of Education, people from several institutions, agencies, our professionals. They all deserve our knowledge, our gratitude, and above all, our mayor, who has always supported these movements of the educating cities. Each moment that we had undergone here, that we had experienced here, were developed, were created with immense amount of care to meet the needs of the Congress people. Your requests were an order for us. The visits that we went brought us to different places, showing the different realities of our cities. From the spaces of vulnerability of some territories until the majesty of knowledge and culture in other places. Each visit, full of meaning, allow for a broad vision that is enriching of the society in Curitiba. The conduction of this Congress is a testimony of the power of education as instrument for social transformation. The exchange of ideas and good practices that has been promoted here will certainly inspire new initiatives in our cities, strengthening our commitment with an inclusive education that is equitable and of quality. So now we want to say farewell with a feeling of having met our duty and towards a promising future built from the seeds that have been planted in these incredible days. May we bring with us the inspiration of the learning that we had acquired today so that each one of your cities might continue to work towards building a fairer society that is educating and solidarity. Thank you for all the participants, organizers, sponsors that had made this event that seems impossible possible. May we move together in this journey to build cities that are more and more educating and humane. See you soon, Granoliers, and thank you very much.